to you by PaintballToTheEnd.com.
Welcome to the 20 episode anniversary of the 10-minute marks. I'm Paul.
I am Jeff, and this is the number one show that Vince McMahon must be watching on YouTube because he is taking our ideas and running with them. Much like,
let's see, what was that? Oh yeah, Bret Hart is now the Raw GM.
Wow, didn't we say something about that?
Yeah, I know.
Like I forget, but I think we called that.
Yeah.
Now we can make Shawn Michaels the SmackDown General Manager, and we'll be all good.
Yeah, that's right.
Other things we're going to talk about is one reason we're doing this big epic super show is because there's just been a lot to talk about over the past week. Scott Hall being arrested, Carlito being released, things of that nature. I've got ideas for the Intercontinental title for Drew McIntyre, the Chelsea and Abyss angle in TNA. We've had the Over the Limits pay-per-view in the past week.
Right.
And we're going to debut a new segment in our show. We're going to call it Last Minute Marks. Each of us are going to take a minute, just discuss anything wrestling related that we haven't gotten to in our regular shows or anything like that.
Right on.
And we're going to start off with Scott Hall being arrested, apparently over the weekend. Today is Wednesday, May 26th, for those who don't know. That's the day we are taping this. And as of this weekend, Scott Hall has been arrested, apparently for beating up a couple ladies outside of a bar and resisting arrest and not cooperating with police regarding the investigation. Scott Hall, how old are we now? I mean, I almost feel sorry for the guy.
I do, actually.
To be as, I want to say as old as Scott Hall is, he's older than me. And while I'll admit I've had a stint in jail before for a couple of weeks, but the whole time I was there, I just kept saying, I'm not going to be here anymore. And I haven't been there.
Yeah.
I learned my lesson about that kind of thing. To be as old as Scott Hall is and still hanging around bars and so forth and so on, and still not learning to keep your temper the way you should, I almost feel sorry for the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, this has gotten old.
Yeah.
And it's really, that's all there is to say about it. How many more opportunities is Kevin Nash going to get you?
Yeah. Or Bischoff.
Or Hogan. Or, and the whole storyline at the beginning of your hire about how Hogan didn't want you in there, well, that storyline may just be reality now.
Yeah.
I don't know whatever happened to Six Pac. I still haven't read online about what happened to him, but, if you'd asked me at the beginning who would I have taken, I'd have taken Six Pac over Scott Hall.
Yeah.
Just because this kind of thing happens to him. He got fired from WWE back in 2003 for getting drunk on a plane.
Yeah, the plane ride from hell.
When are we going to learn?
Yeah. We've also there have been some releases recently. The most recent one was Carlito, but we briefly touched on Shelton Benjamin being released, and I don't think we got to Mickie James. But she was also released. And this is very interesting because these are three people that are very useful to WWE, and I don't know why they were released. I heard Carlito was released because of a wellness violation. I believe it's a second. I believe it's happened before, hasn't it?
Probably would have. If he'd have been released, it had to have been a start. But I haven't heard of anyone. I haven't heard of any previous wellness violations.
I know he was released before, but I actually find it a little bit devastating to WWE because Carlito is one of their most athletic guys. So is Benjamin.
Yep.
But I don't know if they're just short on money in this bad economic time, or there's a backstage issue with somebody. If the wellness thing, they're just putting it out there to hide what really happened with Carlito.
Right. Yeah, that was one of my thoughts.
Yeah, and God, it sucks because, I don't get it because Carlito was fairly over with the fans. I don't know about Benjamin. I know Benjamin is one of my favorites. He was athletic as hell. And Mickie James, was one of their top, WWE Divas, whatever you want to call it, champion.
Definitely one of their more used.
Yeah.
Up until the point she was released.
Yeah.
About Carlito, I'm disappointed. Very disappointed in WWE.
Yeah.
Very disappointed in Carlito or whoever's
responsible.
responsible. Surprised? No, not really. I mean, to me, I saw the incoming soon. Not exactly this soon, but I always thought that he maybe had 1 year left because they weren't really doing much with him.
Yeah.
And they, ever since the Ric Flair comment about WrestleMania, they really just basically buried him.
Yeah.
Except for the tag team run he had with Primo. But,
Yeah.
Was that really more to benefit him or Primo?
Yeah, no joke, right?
And they haven't really used Primo much either, so I'm rather disappointed in this. I'm really hoping TNA can pick up Carlito.
Oh, yeah.
And Shelton Benjamin.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually Mickie James when she's done doing this album thing.
Yeah.
To me, they would be a good fit, but all three of them would be a good fit in TNA. You got some dead weight to release if you're TNA. You've got Brian Kendrick.
Yeah.
You've got Tom Coe, who you can easily get rid of. So you've got some room to maneuver if you're TNA right now. And I know that out of the 15 or so that they picked up when Hogan came along, I think at least half of those guys have been released by now.
Yeah.
Nasty Boys are gone.
Yep.
Bubba's gone.
Yep.
Bubba the douchebag.
Yeah.
Six Pac's gone. Scott Hall's probably going to be gone soon. So
Yep.
You're getting some room to maneuver now.
Not to mention, I heard there were more TNA releases on the way, but they have not said who they are yet.
Yeah, they haven't said what the names are. So you've got some room to maneuver if you're TNA.
Yep. One thing I wanted to talk about was my thoughts on a possible Rob Van Dam and Jeff Hardy feud. Now, they kind of hinted at it the past couple of Impacts. They would have like RVD and Jeff be, shake hands like RVD beat him to get the world title shot from AJ and won the belt. There's a seed there. They also had like a hidden camera in the backstage locker room where they were congratulating each other. And Jeff says, well, just so you know, I really want to go after the title and I'm going to give you all I have. So there's a seed there. They had Ric Flair backstage going, oh, they're going to go after each other. There's a seed right there. So, and to tell you the truth, I don't mind it as long as they push it kind of on the back burner. They plant a few more seeds along the way and keep it that way instead of just rushing into it.
Right.
A couple of the reasons. One, I know Jeff will wholeheartedly agree on is, I love you, Jeff Hardy, but you suck on the mic. Jeff Hardy sucks on the mic. And in order to be a really good heel, like he said before, you have to be good on the mic. Mm-hmm. You could be a babyface and not talk much. You could be like Benoit and just say, I'll take you on a fatal four-way and that's that. And then bust out the dungeon wrestling and headbutt, and you're over, done. The fans love you. But with Jeff Hardy, it's like he's not very good on the mic. He's a great wrestler, but for to be a heel, I mean, if they were to put him in a heel position, he'd have to be good on the mic, and he can't do it. On the other hand, I don't want to see RVD in the heel position. One, because he's the face of TNA now, and two, he's so over anyway. I mean, he's the former ECW legend. No one wants, and he busts out the frog splash. He could take DDTs like, God. They're brutal. I mean, he's got work rate. Why? I don't want to see him as a heel, period. At least not right now. No. And that's the only way I could see, unless they're going to do a babyface versus babyface. But how long is that going to last?
Right.
So I'm a little skeptical of it. But I think it'd work as long as they just keep it maybe 3 to 6 months from now.
Yeah.
Start
and I could see a babyface versus a babyface feud in that for about a month. From one pay-per-view to the next, have that little feud going, and then that would give you some time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with him. I think they should plant the seeds a little more, along the way. And off of that just a little bit, I totally like the hidden camera kind of thing. I've always said I disagree with. I've never liked the backstage camera where people are talking like there's nobody around, even though, hey, dude, there's a camera like 2 feet from you.
Yeah. I think even Brett mentioned that in his book.
Yeah,
in WCW, they did that all the time.
They started that in WCW, and it just really looked bad. But the hidden camera thing, going through a window and so forth, that's a little more believable.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to touch on is a couple ideas. Right now on TNA, one of the big angles is Desmond Wolfe and Abyss with Chelsea Wolfe.
Uh-huh.
And the Abyss getting the services of Chelsea Wolfe for the next 30 days. I'm really, one idea I had for this, and we'll see where they go with it, was to have Abyss come out with Chelsea in his corner. Chelsea totally hates the idea at first, but over the next couple weeks, whoever Abyss's opponent is goes after Chelsea, and Abyss defends her.
Mm-hmm.
And sticks up for Chelsea and keeps her from harm. And you see kind of Chelsea kind of like, wow, Desmond Wolfe wouldn't have done that for me.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, kind of go with that angle a little bit. And then at the end of the 30 days, kind of have Chelsea go, you know what, Desmond, I don't think I'm going to go with you after all.
Yeah.
And kind of have Chelsea stick with Abyss.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing they could do with it. That's just an idea I had.
Yeah.
I don't think it's ever been done with a female going on, you know, with this kind of angle they're doing.
I don't think so. I think it's been the opposite, but not like...
Yeah, exactly.